Kevinemcnulty here today with today's 2-minute nugget. I'm excited about today's message because just one idea from heaven can change your life forever. And there's one idea from heaven that has changed the world forever, and it's called the gospel. The Apostle Paul said, I am not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ, for it is the power of God that produces unto salvation, or produces salvation, or materializes everything that Jesus bought and paid for at the cross. So this gospel, he said, I'm not ashamed of this. Well, what is that gospel? If we're to put that gospel into a nutshell, if you're to understand it in a simple form, if when you say gospel, a certain thought comes to your mind, what would that thought be? What picture would that be that you would see when you hear that word? Now, we understand gospel in English would mean good news, but what is the picture that it portrays? I think it's important for you to understand that this picture is simply what God intended, or His creation, or at the beginning, how He saw man, how He planned life for man. And that was a beautiful life, a good life, a life of authority, a life of peace, a life of abundance, a life of dignity. That's how He created man and woman, how He created Adam and Eve to live in this place that He had planned for them. But with that, He gave them the greatest power ever given to mankind, and that is the power of choice. And so this choice is what the devil used, manipulated them to choose rebellion, to choose to walk away from God, and that brought in the second picture of the gospel, which is Satan's deception. Without understanding that, then it's impossible to understand why Jesus came if you don't understand the fallen state of man. Because this fall created all the catastrophes, all the sin, all the death, all the tragedy, and death itself for humanity, because death was never part of God's plan. So that's part of the gospel. But the third part of the gospel, you have God's creation, Satan's deception, but then you have God's solution. God the Father and Jesus the Son got together and they decided, we're going to solve this. We love mankind so much. We're going to do the righteous thing. We're going to not ignore the rebellion, ignore the sin, but we're going to make it right. And that's where Christ's substitution at the cross comes in. With that substitution, all that we had to pay for in our failure, Christ paid for in His substitution. And therefore we can say we are redeemed, we are forgiven, we are cleansed, we are right, because God identified Jesus with us so that we could identify with Him. And that was us hanging on that cross being paid for. So then we have that picture, that's a miraculous picture, and that's the gospel. And then the fourth picture, we don't want to forget this, is that from the cross, Jesus came to the tomb, and from the tomb, He resurrected. And that resurrection is our restoration. In other words, He overcame our enemy, death, and all things associated with death. He overcame the devil. He overcame fear. He overcame the grave. And therefore, that life that He had given to Him, the same Spirit which raised Jesus from the dead, is now making our mortal bodies alive. That life was given to us. Again, the same life that was lost in creation now is in us, and that is the gospel. God's creation, Satan's deception, Jesus' substitution, and our restoration to the way God intended it. Isn't that wonderful? That's the good news, and that's the nugget for today. God bless you.
I took the sound, and like after 2 minutes it goes to sleep.
Okay, now we have to... How many minutes? I have no idea how long I did it again, because I couldn't see the...
That's about 3-4 minutes.
Oh, really?
But that's okay. Your sermon was big.
Yeah.
We were thinking of doing a Christmas party here on the 16th. Okay, I'd like you and Seth to come. You're open on the 16th?
Friday night.
It's a Friday night. We'll sing Christmas carols, and the net team will be here, and our team.
Now this won't pop up on the screen. That popped up. That won't show up, right?
No.
Okay, now I've got to take it and send it. So, I gotta take it here.
It's 5-minute video.
Oh, 5-minute video. I've gotta buy a timer. Something that I can see like that. What's up?